online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Just killed a man, executed a man,
put a gun against it.
push the button, now he's dead.
Guys,
Mama.
We should put when doves cry.
No.
I can't do this.
Because this is how...
That's too uppity for Joe.
Pegah is feeling how doves feel when they cry.
God.
I'm so upset, you guys.
Oh, Pegah.
Well, I'm upset too, and welcome everybody to another amazing AfterBuzz TV after show for your favorite show. It is The Following, and we're talking about Season 3, Episode 10, Evermore.
The saddest episode ever.
Oh my God.
I'm kind of upbeat, actually.
I'm your host, Sean Austin O. That's where you can find me. Sean Overman, you can find me at Sean Austin O on Twitter and Instagram. And where can we find you guys, my beautiful and awesome co-hosts?
Hi, my name's Pegah Rad. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Pegah Rad.
Hey, I'm Micheal Andrew. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Micheal_Drew, Micheal EAL.
And be sure to give us, go search us on YouTube at AfterBuzz TV and search the AfterBuzz TV, The Following. You can also find us at our website, AfterBuzzTV.com, on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV, same thing on Instagram, SoundCloud, all these platforms to check us out at, and give us a follow, give us comments. We'll be talking about your comments later. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the episode. We're going to be talking about Joe's last day.
It happened.
It had to
Can't
happen.
believe it.
It happened.
Oh my gosh. So later on we'll talk about Theo and his sister. Kind of weird relationship.
My prediction was right last week.
That Penny was a sister.
No.
No. What
I
was
said,
your...
That we'll meet his sister.
No, I said that they're going to execute Carroll, and he's going to give them some advice to help find Theo.
Ah, you were.
That's the first time. I haven't been writing a prediction in so long. I'm pretty happy
does
about
it feel?
that. It feels good.
No, but he gave him one little thing, like he's from the city of brotherly love.
I know.
Like, okay.
I know, right?
But he's Joe Ryan.
But like also,
Joe Ryan.
Joe Carroll.
Yeah, he's half now.
Yeah, he is.
Because now when he dies, he went inside
It's
of
a
him.
part of him.
so deep.
And Ryan, by the way, these are all spoilers, so you need to watch the episode before you get into this podcast.
Don't watch this if you didn't watch the episode.
And lastly, we're going to talk about Ryan taking a drink.
Oh yes.
Oh.
I was proud of him.
So the episode opens up, and it's totally silent, really, like dead silent. And we just see Joe in his bed by himself, clutching at the glasses he stole from the guard, right? The dead guard he killed. And it's just like the first thing that anybody says, they come up to him, that one guard is like, "Welcome to the last day of your life."
Yeah. What
Right?
It's so crazy that everyone's just like throwing it in his face. But by the way, you're gonna die.
yeah, if you didn't already know.
Just in case you forgot. Good luck today.
Seriously. So
It's over.
And we forward a little bit. We see Ryan at home, right? He's watching the news, and it's so funny because he's getting called by reporters. He unplugs the phone, and she's like, "Well, whatever. Who is that? What are you doing that for?" And he's like, "Oh, well, because the reporters are trying to get some kind of reaction out of me. They want to hear a comment on Joe's last day. Well, what do you think about Joe's last day?"
Yeah.
Yet he can't take his eyes off the TV.
Yeah, he's all messed up. He was so jittery. He was freaking out. It was like he was going on a date.
Yeah, and if I
He
didn't
was so nervous.
right, I didn't like Gwen before, and this made me not like her even more. I mean, let the guy have his space. Let him deal with the way he wants to deal with Joe. I mean, she's being so controlling, turns the TV off. Like, he needs this. He needs this closure. He needs to find out what happens, and she needs to give him some space. I get it. You're pregnant, okay? But, like, come on,
Yeah,
let the guy.
it looks like she thinks she's helping him, but the guy's about to die at the end of that day. Just let Ryan go through his thing. Just let him go, because by the next day, according to them, Carroll was going to be
It'll
gone.
be over.
Supposedly at this point, we
Not
don't know.
Carroll.
We don't know what's going to happen
Not
yet,
him.
right? So I thought it was interesting how we go to the FBI headquarters and we see that they have a pool on Joe's death. They're
I
betting.
know.
That was crazy.
Right?
On like how long it's going to take for him to die, right?
That was a little
Yeah.
cold and I mean, that was very cold and calculating, though, wasn't it?
It was pretty cold, but I guess, they got to do what they got to do because they catch these guys every day.
Yeah, but this is Joe Carroll. They've been looking for him for how many years now? He's been responsible for how many deaths? It's like
Several dozen.
they're celebrating. So
They are celebrating.
Man, if it was me, as many times as this guy's escaped death, I'd just be like, let's just go in there and shoot him. Let's just get rid of him. Because every time, he always escapes. Like, guys, listen.
He does.
Like, every time there's a moment where he has like 20 minutes to think, he's like, all right, you know what? I think I'm going to do this, this, and this, and somehow escape. So if I was them, I'd just be like, listen, guys, let's just pull the plug. Let's just get rid of this guy.
right. Well, Ryan had the chance to at the end of last season. He had the gun point blank to his face and could have killed him and would have
C'est
ended
vrai.
this all. But he just couldn't do it.
But he didn't, and that's an important part of the conversation that we get to hear later on between the two. Joe, it's so funny when he comes out. They totally strap him into that wheelchair, and they make him immobile, right? Taking him to get the physical before he does the execution, and he did those riot cops do a good job
Useless.
searching him?
Oh, those guys
No.
are useless, man.
Seriously, you were talking about it, right, Pegah?
Can we talk about this?
Hashtag WTF FBI,
WTF,
Warden.
FBI, Warden, jail people.
Everybody.
First of all, you don't check his hand. Was he holding it? Was it? I don't know. They should have checked him better. Second of all, there were little things from glasses, right? How
was a frame.
sharp could that have possibly been to jab like that huge guard guy in the neck? And he's like, oh!
For
I'm like,
Joe
all
Carroll,
right.
for Carroll, killing is an art. He
was-
understands how to use the blades perfectly.
Okay, that's what you said too. You're like, he knows where to do it.
He
but-
knows where to hit him because even though they're a guard, right? They're wearing full riot gear. He still has his neck exposed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they could have done that, but then if he did that, then Joe would have went for the eyes.
To me, it just looked like a bobby pin and this huge guy, and it was like, "Duh!" Like it was too. Anyway,
The thing I like so much about this episode is how we all knew this was going to happen. Like the first scene with Carroll, he's sharpening it. There's not even like, it's not usually there's like a secret setup. You don't really know if he's going to attack the guard, but we knew from the get-go he's going to try and stab the guard.
Yeah.
Like the
That's-
moment they went and got him, we knew where this was going.
That's an interesting point that you said he was sharpening it. Is that
Yeah.
what he was doing?
Yeah,
is that
against
what
the
he
wall.
was doing?
Yeah, I didn't catch that. Or rather, I didn't think about that. I saw him doing those motions, but I thought he was just like playing around with it.
I thought he was like Ryan Hardy.
You will come to me, Ryan Hardy.
No, I mean, that's what I thought, but when you think about it, I don't really know if you can't really sharpen it against a wall. But to me, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he's sharpening it.
He could make it more
Carroll's
jagged
good.
because it's probably pretty smooth. But if the way he bent it, the way if he was pushing it up against the concrete, he probably made it sharper and more like jagged at the end, and that would be easier for piercing skin.
Joe Carroll, man.
But I think a bobby pin would have been just as well for
Yeah.
Joe to pierce somebody's aorta because he can be deadly with anything really,
That's true.
and that would have been easier to hide.
Yeah. Imagine he has his hair like a little
Yeah.
Yeah.
bobby pin.
So he does end up getting up. But before that, though, I wanted to mention, I thought it was so funny how he said to Diana, "Be careful, you might get a little bit turned on."
A little
was it?
turned on, yeah.
A little turned
Oh,
on.
yeah.
little
That's the lawyer,
aroused.
right?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you see me being executed, a little aroused. Yeah, something like that. I didn't get I wrote down the exact quote, but it's on the other page of my
Yeah.
notes.
And that was like the last real Joe Carroll-y thing that he said this episode, because the rest, he wasn't his normal quippy, quick-witted self. He was very melodramatic, very like in his feelings.
Yeah, he was.
I thought that was really the layers his character had this episode, like Purifoy and bacon, man. Purifoy and bacon sounds like a sandwich. Purifoy and bacon.
The Purifoy bacon.
They were really on fire this episode.
They need to put them in some other show or a movie together.
Pure
One
bacon.
of them needs
Sorry.
to get nominated for something. I mean, an Emmy. Come on. That was brilliant acting this episode.
Yeah.
You also have a crush on him, that's why. So.
I do.
He could have just slept the whole scene and just look at him on the bed. Like, oh, look at him, Oscar
Oscar-winning
give
sleep.
it to him.
Well, I'm sure he's going to go for it. He's going to be in films. You know, we're going to be drawn to
Yes,
him,
we
to James
are.
Purefoy. Anyway, getting back to him stabbing
Yes.
the riot cop, right, or the prison guard.
And then when he took his eye with the
Oh man! So one guard, he stabbed him in the neck with the glasses, and the other guy who was saying, "We're gonna tase you," he grabs a taser, tases that guy, falls down, and to make sure he doesn't get up, tases his eyeball out of its socket to the point where he's dead.
Yeah.
he's like MacGyver.
Yeah.
You know, he's turning things into weapons. He's like Liam Neeson in Taken.
Yes.
He's like, who? This professor
I
with
like it.
no formal martial arts training. It's just like, whatever.
But he's killed a lot of people.
He's an expert killer. Yeah.
He's an expert at improvisation with
He is.
small, sharp objects.
He's like, see, it goes to show you that if you're attractive and you kill, girls like you. See, Pegah, no matter what he does, Pegah finds nothing wrong with him. Pegah's like, I know he killed him, but man, you heard his accent?
Yeah.
Shivers.
Well, anyway, we get to see. So Joe takes everybody hostage. We got a couple people in there, right? We got, was it a doctor? I didn't think that. Yeah, it was
A doctor, a lawyer, and then the governor's chief of staff.
Yeah, Jim Hale, and then we
Jim
had
Hale.
Diana, I think was the name of his
The lawyer.
his
Oh,
public
yeah.
defender, or
Oh,
his
yeah.
lawyer, his prison lawyer.
The dude that was a jerk, the guy who was a coward.
Yeah, that guy
That
was
guy.
such a pushover.
Which one?
Jim Hale, the chief of
Oh,
staff.
yeah, totally.
He was just like, yeah, sure, I'll do whatever you say, Joe. Don't kill me.
Yeah.
And then when the prison guards came in later, don't kill me. Yeah, I'll do whatever you say.
The part where they strap down the lawyer,
Yeah.
and Joe just has that little
scalpel.
this little scalpel, and the lawyer has no weapon, but they're still kind of one-on-one. He didn't make any moves. He just said, okay, just strapped her, and then just walked to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
mean-
damn, dude.
There were some times where he looked at Joe, and I felt like he was going to pull something, and that would be an easy out for Joe to just kill him right there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if it was anybody else, I would say they might have tried something, but they know what Joe's capable of.
Yeah.
You blink the wrong way and you're gone.
And he was a coward.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very not likable character. I would have been okay with him dying.
And then when the prisoners break out, and he just, yeah, take the girl, go ahead.
yeah. Do we need your permission? That was awful too. Yeah, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. So getting back to, we have Joe string everybody up. He turns on the security cameras again. He's in control of that room. He's even at that. We even get to see him at the controls, right? Something like
Yeah,
that.
he has
takes
control over
over.
the surveillance.
Yeah, so he says to the warden and the FBI, right, if you try to cut the connection, if you do this, do that, whatever, all these things, a list of things, I kill a hostage. In fact, the only way you would get me not to kill a hostage is to get Ryan Hardy here right now.
Get it in. Get those impressions in.
Get those
'cause
impressions in.
This is it.
This is the last
over.
time. No, I'm not doing it.
No, there's more.
We're going to have flashbacks.
We're seeing more of Joe.
You're just
Yes.
hoping.
If not, I'm leaving this panel. Sorry, guys.
This is what I'm going to say later on in later episodes. I will say WWJD, what would Joe do? Every time, and then I will break into an impersonation of Joe.
You know, I like the side note. I like the quick back and forth. I don't know why I like it so much, but between Theo and Joe, and how Theo makes a reference to Joe once in a while.
Yeah,
I like, for some reason, I like that whole respect amongst peers thing they do.
they do.
You know, and I don't know why I like that so much. Even though they're homicidal murders.
Does Theo respect Joe?
I mean, I got that. He's like, well, Joe knows what he's doing. When he captured Ryan, he mentioned it.
I feel like
Yeah.
he does respect him, but I think you mentioned it last time. It's like a competition between them two. It's like the students wanting to be better than each other in Dr. Strauss's class.
That's what I took it as too, and that's what I really like that. I was hoping for more of that, but Joe gone. I was kind of hoping maybe if Joe escaped, they'd be going at each other.
Ooh,
I'll kill 9
like
people.
a kill
I'll kill
off?
10.
Wow.
A kill off.
That would be crazy.
By October 31st, who gets 50 kills?
Yes.
That's terrible.
So we get to see the three amigos walking down the hallway towards Joe's
How
cell.
amazing did they look? You called it out, and I noticed it too.
They
Like
looked pretty badass.
Max, Mike, and
Oh, yeah.
Ryan. The way it was just like it might as well have been in slow motion.
Yeah, seriously. It was like Apollo 13.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
With
Walking down the
Kevin
hall.
Bacon. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah, well done.
There you go.
That's right. So it gets down to it, and he's got to be by himself. They have to leave Max and Mike behind. The rest of the SWAT team's there, and he goes in. Joe says, "Hey, man, like." I'm glad you visited me, Ryan. Well, turn around, take off your clothes, because it's time for me to let you in and knock you out.
Yeah.
So at first, we see that it seems like he has no leverage, right? But we know that Ryan has tons of leverage, because the only reason Joe wants him there is for the sake of wanting him there. So he could just leave and then the whole thing's over, right? So he ends up releasing that one hostage, that doctor, and
I thought he was gonna kill him. I thought he was gonna pretend he was gonna release him, then just like kick the chair and hang him.
Oh, you thought so?
I thought he was gonna do something like that. And maybe he'd probably scream at Ryan after, like, you see, I'm not playing games, something like that.
He
But
could
no.
have gone that route.
But he really just wants to talk. Like he really wanted a one-on-one.
He just wanted Ryan to admit.
I know
That's all he wanted.
It went in a direction I really didn't see. I really didn't expect a kumbaya, eye to eye. Like, hey man, listen, I feel this way. I feel this way too.
Listen.
Tell me why.
If only you had asked VP to my execution,
Oh my
this
gosh.
wouldn't be
I
happening,
know,
Ryan.
If you just would have came.
So the lawyer's about to get her eyeball chopped out or whatever, dug out, and
Ooh.
we get this confession from Ryan. You know, he's like,
Big
you asked
time.
me if I dreamed about you, and yes, I do, and we're friends in our dreams.
So good. He did
Of my
it.
dreams.
Kevin Bacon was so good in that scene.
Oh my gosh,
He was
his
so-
eyes, the way, it was,
In that scene, his eyes were so red and swollen. He needed a drink right then.
yeah.
Acting eyes. He had those good acting eyes.
And Joe's reaction to that was just like that is what I have been waiting all these years for. That's all I've wanted from you.
And he needed more too, because he said, "You're in my dreams." And he's like, "In what capacity?" And he starts like putting the scalpel deeper towards her eye.
In what way? What are we doing? Are we hanging out?
What kind of
drinking.
beer are we drinking?
We're drinking. We're friends. And you're teaching me to kill. That is so deep. That's a
Yeah.
big reveal.
I wish that Ryan told him so much. I thought he would lie, but I don't know. Maybe
it's-
this is all inside Ryan. I think Ryan
It's
just
the
wants.
truth.
I think he wants to admit it.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think that's what I got.
He needed to get it off his chest. It's his closure. He's about to die. He's never gonna be able to tell him after this. Yeah, he needed to.
And I really think he likes Joe.
You know,
I do
He likes
too,
him. He
guys.
does.
He doesn't want to, but he
just,
likes him.
You know what? He can't admit it because of society, because of culture. Just like, we all root for Joe Carroll. We're his fans. But if it was someone in the real world who was a real killer, a real murderer, we can't root for them.
I just
Yeah,
want to
we would
clarify.
never.
I don't root for Joe Carroll. I just want to say that I'm not rooting for the murderer. I'm not really rooting for that guy. But I hear what you're saying.
I'm
Just as
rooting
much-
for the pretend hot murder on TV. Let me make that clear. I would never cheer on Charles Manson in real life.
Yeah, because
That'd be
he
creepy.
get that big thick beard, but if he had that British accent, boy.
No. Murder is bad.
Murder's
On
bad.
TV and you're hot, it's acceptable.
With commercial breaks, not too bad.
Well, he releases Ryan right away, takes off the wire from his neck, and
Yeah.
might I say, it must have been really on him for a while, because there was quite an impression on his
Yeah.
neck.
Yeah, there's a
Right?
line.
Joe had them. He literally could just done a 3-way massacre right there.
Yeah, I love the way where he made Ryan stand up by just pulling on the thing, and it forced him to get up real quick. I was like, dang.
It was back to him being the puppeteer,
Yes.
the puppet master, controlling everything like in season 1.
But but that's what I want to ask. In season 1, if that same scene would have happened in season 1, I think Joe Carroll would have just killed them all.
Yes.
I think he would have killed Joe. I think he would have killed Ryan out of revenge, and if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me.
And
but they've grown together, so now they have a genuine, creepy love for one another, which is
gosh.
just so crazy.
It's just so well written. I mean, kudos to the writers of this show. It's such a complex relationship.
Except
and
the
it's-
WTF moments, but this part, yeah, because there's a couple.
But with them two, especially, just throughout the 3 seasons so far, it's just been building and growing in the weirdest ways. I love it.
And he could never be with Claire, right? He could never be with Claire.
No.
No. Because she was Joe's wife.
And not
right?
even that. Claire, what? Imagine if Claire found out that he loves Joe.
Oh, man.
That he wants Joe to be his best friend.
Oh my
Imagine
gosh.
if she sees the underlining, you like Joe. Holy. And then she's like, I'm married to Joe again. Wow.
Oh,
I would love to see that conversation between Claire and Ryan.
yeah.
Wow.
Huh, okay.
That's really deep. But
Thank you.
So he's
Michael Andrew, Michael _ Drew, Michael EAL. No, I'm playing. All right.
So Ryan was just so afraid that Joe was right, And that's why he never admitted this, obviously, to nobody. And I'm sure he's not going to tell anybody else about this stuff.
Yeah.
But and there was also another thing. He got satisfaction out of killing his father's killer, right?
Yes.
Is that what they were talking about when Joe broke him down to that sentence? And he gets satisfaction out of killing. He does. We got to see that. But Joe gives up so easily, right? As soon as Ryan admits it, he just gives him the handcuffs and he kneels down before him, right? Oh, he got socked too.
Yeah, he got socked. I was like, oh my gosh, is he going to fight back? But no fight at all. Just surrendered to him, and that's all he wanted.
And I didn't expect Ryan to admit that he enjoyed the killing. That threw me off too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow.
Totally. So we get to see, really quickly, Theo and his sister, they're in the apartment. She releases the locks. What kind of a crazy woman is this?
Well, because she wants to protect Theo.
Yeah.
Because thinking that something would happen to Ryan Hardy in that situation, that would in turn be protecting Theo.
Okay, so she wants Ryan Hardy to be dead, so
Yeah.
Ryan will give up the chase for Theo.
Right. She knows how dangerous Ryan Hardy can be and doesn't want Theo to mess with it. The whole entire episode, she's like, why are you messing with him? Leave it alone. Like, he's like, no, he needs to be dead in order for us to have anonymity again.
I like the fact how Ryan is kind of like the boogeyman to all these murderers.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. It's kind of like was it Elliot Ness, the guy who captured all the main bad guys from like the 60s or the 40s?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Like the gangsters, the big gangsters.
Yeah, he's like the Elliot Ness of these psychopathic murderers.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool.
And he's like a vigilante in a way too, right? Goes a little bit outside the law to do what he needs to do to catch these serial killers.
Man, what kind of family? Like that Theo family, that's kind of like they're both murderers?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Parents went real wrong.
What's going on? And they're both, like, she's so cool with it. Like, hey, you didn't kill him? What's going on? Like, it was just so...
She recovered really fast for being in a coked out state in that junkie house.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was, right? Yeah.
And I love how she's like, you always kill my boyfriends. I actually liked this one. Like,
Yeah,
but my question to you guys is, sorry, were you going to say
No, I was going to say that's an eye-rolling moment for me. I was like, come on.
My question is, do we think that Theo will ever turn on Penny? Because he turned on his wife, he turned on his kids, but will he turn on his sister?
This is his blood.
Yeah.
Well, his
This
kids
is
were
his blood.
His kids were his blood too.
But
But
his kids lived, though.
Right.
yeah, he
But-
probably let them live.
Yeah.
Yeah, let them live. But I personally think, oh gosh, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him, but I think that because she is also a killer and sees the world in the same way that he does, maybe he won't.
I think the
But-
reason she was brought in was because she is the only connection. She's the only connection he has to make him kind of look, what's the term, like, good. Or like that, that...
Normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to be the family. You thought the family was that side to him that were like,
Yeah.
oh, look, he's not as bad as you think he is. But I think she's the one. Because you saw with the family that they're just props. They're just props to his play.
Right.
But her, she's the one link. She's the one weakness he has. Because
Yeah,
he cares
she's-
about her.
He's
Yeah.
protective of
And I
her.
think that's why she was introduced.
He rescued her from the junkie house.
Yeah.
Right. He needs somebody to help him
Yeah.
as well.
Interesting.
So the prisoners get released, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they grab Diana. A couple of them grab her, probably to be raped outside.
That was a cool
Awful.
scene though. I like the whole letting them out, letting all the prisoners
Yes.
out. That was a cool little okay, I'm glad this is happening. A nice little, it felt like a video game.
Jim gets stabbed. Jim Hale, the chief of staff for the governor, gets totally stabbed. That wimp.
And freaks out.
I love
freaks
how
out.
Ryan's like, just apply pressure. I gotta go.
He's like, don't
Face.
leave me. Don't leave me.
And Ryan, he tased one of them, and then he knocked the other guy down, knocked him out. He kicked him in the face, right? Kicked him with the shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
And he beat the crap out of him. Right? When
Oh,
he
and
saved-
so outside, yeah,
yeah.
he ends up saving. When I saw this whole thing going down, I was like, all right, Joe and Ryan, the dynamic duo, gonna save each other again.
Yeah, I loved how, like you were saying, they were on the same team for that 10 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They're on the same page, yeah.
On the same page, yeah. But did you guys notice how Ryan Hardy had this
Yeah.
thing over his eyes, especially when he went outside to go kill those two? He killed them. He could have knocked them out or whatever. Kills them really, really brutally.
Brutally.
And just when he gets up and the blood splattered on his shirt and just this look of, I don't know, like maybe he had just had that deep connection with Joe and it's kind of overtaken him, or I don't know. What did you guys think about that?
The last guy that he beat, that was probably gonna rape the lawyer. He really he thrashed this guy.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected him. I thought he was gonna, because he was gonna rape her. I thought he was gonna taste his private parts.
Yep.
That's what I was expecting. I was like, oh, he's gonna taste his private parts.
That would be like ABC Family, the following.
But he really and her the look on her face.
She was almost afraid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Was that what you-
That's what I was getting. Yeah.
You know what? I wrote down something that was really good because I was just watching another show a couple nights ago, and he is, in that moment, she looks at him and she's like, "You're a bad man. You just murdered this guy in front of me, like, brutally."
And she also just heard him admit to Joe that he likes killing. Remember?
Oh, good call.
So
yeah.
now she's like, "Am I next?" Maybe she was thinking that. Maybe she was thinking I'm next.
Joe is Ryan, and Ryan is Joe. This episode, but I
This
wrote
is so deep.
But I wrote down that there's this really good quote from True Detective on it's on HBO, and it's with Matthew McConaughey, and he
Great
says,
show.
"Yeah, great show," and he says, they say they're talking about bad men, right? And he's like, "Am I a bad man?" Like I think Woody Harrelson says it, and Matthew McConaughey goes, "Oh well, I'm a bad man too. The world needs more bad men. We keep the other bad men from breaking down the door." And that's
Oh.
exactly what Ryan Hardy is right now.
That's a really good quote.
Yeah, it's super good. It's very applicable to this
Tattooed it on my
situation.
back. No, I'm playing.
So Ryan Hardy, even though he's seriously brutal in this episode, he is brutal from the perspective of we need that brutal guy on our side, and that's why he's with the FBI. The FBI, what are they? They're wolves, or they're sheepdogs, right? They
like
keep
the-
away the wolves.
Yeah, it's like the Jack Nicholson character in A Few Good Men. You know when he's freaking out and he's doing that? He's like, "You need me on that wall." I don't know the whole speech.
Yeah.
I'd rival your quote right now with the whole Jack Nicholson thing.
Yes,
but
I know
don't
what you're
got it.
talking about. I know that
But
scene in the
yeah,
courtroom.
he's pretty much saying that, like, you need me to do these crazy things. Even though you don't like it, you need me to, because I'm protecting this country.
Exactly. Yeah, it's good. So even though Ryan Hardy got the knife from that guy that stabbed Jim Hale, he used it to stab the other guy and then beat the guy senseless with the taser. Not even senseless, beat him to death with the taser.
Yeah, when he
He
first
didn't even tase him. He just beat him up.
I know, like he wanted, like he was covered in their blood.
It was. I feel like just something just so emotional happened during that talk with Joe that either it was a release or just something came over him, and because that's not what Ryan would normally do.
He had a tough day, man.
He has, yeah.
That's like when you think about that
Exactly.
whole day. That's a really that day's an emotional roller
He's
coaster.
had
Yeah.
a tough few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it definitely wasn't him. So
So we get to see the duo take on the big guy
Yeah.
in the private cell.
And Ryan, for a few seconds,
Oh.
Ryan let him beat him up a bit.
Yeah.
choke him, right?
Yeah.
He almost let Joe die right there. At least, hey, it would have been, he would have been out of my life at that moment instead of waiting until midnight for him to be executed.
Yeah. And Joe is watching him too. The whole time he's getting choked, he's looking Ryan in the eyes like, "Yo."
Brother, what are you doing? Help me. Don't let him kill me like this.
It's like Mufasa when Scar had Mufasa over there, and Mufasa's looking him in his eyes.
Oh, man.
Except this time, Scar actually helps him.
Pegah's
Joe
gonna
helps
cry.
him.
I love that movie.
Man, how many references do we have so far?
Really
That's
good
three.
references, you
Pretty
guys.
good, right?
But the
welcome.
big guy,
That's
good exchange between Joe. He had a little, little fast line between them. He said, "Oh, you're that eye guy, right?" And then Joe's like, "Eye guy? That's like telling Rembrandt he's the interior decorator."
Joe Carroll.
Who's Rembrandt?
He's so vain.
Big dummy, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Joe is super vain.
I always love it when they insult him. He's like, "Wait, I'm a genius," but no one sees it, and he's just like, "Guys, I'm like Picasso." It's like, but no one else sees it. And I just love it when it's like, it nags him like, "Jeez, after all I've done, I'm still, guys, I'm a genius."
You know what was funny is that going up there, I think the guy said, "I'm going to redecorate the place with your brains," right? But they used his brains to redecorate that cell because Ryan smashed his hand
yeah.
into the side of that sink or whatever it was, and there was blood everywhere, and he
violent.
probably burst his head open.
Yes.
Ugh. Okay.
So that guy got what was coming.
And
to him.
that was his going away present to Joe. Like, "See, Joe, for you."
I saved your life, Joe, for another 8 hours,
I know, right? That's
and then you're gone. Yeah, but
and he
that-
helps him get up from the floor. Just
Yeah.
that zoom in on the
Yeah.
hand. I was like, oh,
hey, bro. The one hand
Yeah.
down. Here, brother.
let me help you up.
Joe had more excuse me, Ryan had more blood on him than Joe did. Joe didn't do anything.
Oh my gosh.
true.
Baptism by
Great
blood.
observation.
That's true.
He is now Joe.
He is Joe.
Oh,
That's super deep. Well, fast forward to the execution.
yeah.
Joe is just taking in everything. The way he looks around, it's like he knows these are his last precious minutes. He couldn't stop looking, feeling, touching everything as much as he could. It's like he was touching things with his eyes.
Wait, are you at the execution already?
I'm at the execution.
Can
Was
I
there
talk
another scene?
really quick about when Joe comes, or Ryan comes to visit him in the cell before?
Oh yeah, go ahead and mention that.
And he says, I'm happy because now I get to live on through you. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I don't really think he wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Ryan's just like, oh,
That's
jeez.
Yeah.
That
And he-
was. Oh, go ahead.
Then he just like walks away. He's like, oh, Ryan. And then he tells him that tidbit about Theo.
Brotherly
but
love.
yeah.
That was really deep, actually. I wrote that down. I just saw execution here, so I thought I was at the execution already. But he said, you're my real legacy. And you admitted that we're brothers, Ryan.
Yeah.
And I will live on through you. It's such a beautiful
You
thing.
deserve an Emmy too, man.
Oh,
I'm
man.
nominated.
Good job.
Man, I didn't do stand-up with Joe Carroll impersonations. No, but it's so weird because Joe, he's his brother. He's not just his friend, he's his brother. He's his father in a way, and he's his family.
Oof.
That's his last person. It's like Joe, like writing those books. You know, every author when they write a book, it's really like them immortalizing themselves in the book, and it can be carried on for generations, right? That's what Ryan is. Ryan is. He said it in the earlier scenes. He said, "You're my most devoted follower."
Yes.
That sucks. Like if you're Ryan, like that sucks. Like man, that stings. Like I'm looking at, I feel so bad. I kind of feel bad for Ryan.
All these years trying to catch him, and he's going after him, yet he doesn't kill him. Pegah?
Yeah, it's like you want to feel bad for him, but for me,
I know for you.
it's the truth I feel for Ryan. He's finally saying out loud what Ryan's been feeling, and I don't know as far as being a brother, but that connection and that just constant thinking about him or whatever you want to call obsession maybe with each other, he's finally saying it, and I feel like maybe this is the first step to a recovery. I don't know. After he hits rock bottom, because he's going to lose his marbles.
The growth between the two is just, if you just watch the first season until now, and how like the final scene between them, how it kind of looks like a best friend losing his other best friend.
Yeah.
And Carroll is so just like accepting of it.
Yeah.
But no quips, no funny quips. He kind of looks afraid.
Yeah.
And it was weird to see Joe Carroll with a sense of fear, like, wow, it's going down. Like when they first start rapping him and he's looking, his eyes are darting around. He's like, oh, I don't know. He's like, he doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
You know, and no one's paying attention to him. Like, they're just treating him like a prop. Like, oh, you're going to die now.
Yeah.
And no one's giving him attention.
Totally objectifying him.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel bad for him?
Nah.
No?
I did.
I felt really bad. It's just as a human, you know, watching these people tie you up, like you said, real cold. I get it. He's a human that's killed a lot of other humans, but
Pegah.
I just felt really bad for him for a second.
Pegah, the amount,
Whatever.
your body count.
Let me have it.
So he's dressed in white, which is so a stark contrast to where he was dressed in red to be like
Yeah.
an isolated inmate. So he's dressed in white. It's like he's going out. He's pure now.
He's no angel. Well, yeah.
I think he is in a way.
Yeah.
He's going out.
No, Sean.
Like he's
dressed-
repentant or whatever.
I
Yeah.
refuse. I refuse to give this guy. I mean,
No, but he didn't repent.
he didn't.
No, right?
He
He's
knew.
never been sorry.
He still loves what he does.
If
He killed the guard on the way out.
Fine.
yeah, he did.
I know.
But he didn't. What I liked about it too in this scene, the execution scene, was he didn't resist at all. He was just like, "Hey, it's happening to me," but he wasn't spacing out. Like you said, his eyes were darting around. He was looking everywhere. He was taking in his last moments really well. And then when that curtain goes up, we get to see Ryan staring at him, the only person standing up. And Joe, he puts his head back on the pillow and he relaxes.
Yeah, like a sense of relief. That
Oh,
was,
you're here, Ryan.
I
Thank
got
goodness.
Purifier was so good in that scene.
So good.
So it was like complete silence, and he just, That's like acting 101. Like I really thought he was getting injected.
No, but here's the thing, and I did like the way he was in pain, his acting, because he's got to sell it, you know.
Yeah.
But to back it up to a realistic perspective, number one thing is that we saw one guy like doing the injections right behind the scenes. Normally it's two people and they press a button. They're not putting down like the syringes. They're not doing it all manually. They made it look all fancy. But normally it's two guys or three, I think sometimes in some states. They press the button at the same time and they don't know who did the injection. So they don't have any guilt when they go home.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's crazy.
So that was a little, like not too realistic from my
Every day is
perspective.
a school day, folks. I
Yep.
just learned something new.
Every day is a school
Wait,
day.
but do you want to know my real quick conspiracy
Go ahead.
theory about
Yeah.
that? Is I thought, how cool would it be if everybody in that room was an actual Joe Carroll follower and faked the whole thing? Like it was like Kool-Aid in those needles. And, they inject him, the guy pretend calls the time of death, and curtain goes down, and he escapes. That's what I was hoping would happen.
Pegah's just
You know
throwing out
what?
ideas, hoping the writers are watching. So he can come back.
That would be
Come
the
back.
most awesome thing ever, and I could see them doing that for next season.
Wouldn't that be insane?
I hope that is actually the case, because it's just like the fire. It's like, oh, he's dead. He got blown up, but it's like, no, it really wasn't him. They could write it in some way where he
could
makes it
be.
out of the situation.
It would be jumping the shark a bit.
It's a little bit. It's a
Yes.
little shark jumpy.
But
A little.
Yeah. Anyways, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, we just
But
love.
when you're in love, you don't care if they jump the shark.
I
We
know.
love
You
Joe
wanna-
Carroll so
you wanna
much.
see it.
But he says, "Quoth the raven, nevermore."
Yes.
Right, and that's it.
That was so good.
The injections happen, and again, this is something that's unrealistic too. He was in a lot of pain. It looked like at first,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it started to relax. They're not supposed to be in any pain. It's supposed to they're not even supposed to be moving. Like they're strapped down, and the thing knocks them out. The injections knock them out, and it slows their heart down enough, and then they can't feel anything, and then that's how they die.
Wow.
So it's like a completely silent and without movement kind of death with the injection.
Well, that could be a good way to bring
Okay.
him back, because then that's how Ryan might find out. I was like, you know what? I just Googled, and it turns out you're not supposed to act like that. And
Do
then
you guys normally do the executionists move that much? That's kind of
he
funky.
was putting
that's
on
how
an
you know
act.
he was faking, and then because that's very Joe Carroll-ish to be over dramatic, like, oh,
Yes.
my final goodbye,
Yeah, you have to sell it.
quote the raven. Oh. Then he faints.
So,
Oh my God,
but
this is so fun.
still a great scene. And then that brings us to Ryan. And I want to talk about Theo and his sister. Let's talk
yeah,
about them at
okay.
the end. But let's
Okay.
talk about Ryan since we're on him. So he has that drink at the end,
Yep.
and that's it. That was his tipping point. Like, my best friend died.
And the
when he-
Joe hallucinations
Yeah.
starting. Well, sorry, continuing.
Yeah. Well, that was the first time that it was in real, because it wasn't a dream. It was while he was awake.
Oh, he had another
Well,
one.
no,
What-
yeah, yeah. When they went into that basement or something or
yes,
other.
you're right. You're right.
and he
you're
thought
right,
Mike
you're right.
was Joe.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when it happened.
When he came into that bar, the first thing I said was like, "Man, you need a drink.
Yeah.
Like you got
Seriously.
to, dude. You need."
He
sip
forced
on it.
himself to.
You got to.
You don't just walk into a bar without wanting to get a drink in
But
there.
it's
Listen,
like
man.
not a drink. He was like, keep them coming. Didn't he say something like,
Yes.
two
Yeah.
more, please?
Yeah.
Listen, man, that
not
a day
topic.
that this guy went through, I don't care. Let him drink. I don't care.
Yeah.
Let him. You just, if you're gonna get off the wagon, facing off against a homicidal murderer, and you're finding out that you might potentially be one. And he didn't even find out he might be his girl's pregnant yet. That's
Like,
without finding out you're gonna be a
Ooh,
dad.
God,
She
imagine
wanted
that.
to tell him in the beginning of the episode.
You know what I
I'm
was
glad
thinking?
she didn't.
I was thinking that she was a follower, and the reason she was telling, and she was a follower, she falls in love with him. She was supposed to kill him. She falls in love with him, and she ends up getting pregnant by him. And so she falls out of her following ways. So then, when he tells her that he's going to the prison, she was afraid that he was going to run in, that Joe Carroll is going to tell him the truth.
Oh,
That
I
Gwen
see.
is actually one of my followers.
Oh my gosh, that's
But
a
I
great.
kind of that was kind of I reached for that, but I thought
Yeah.
that'd be cool too. That's why, because she was so frantic and not letting him go to
Mm-hmm.
go see Carol. I thought like, oh, maybe he knows something she doesn't want him to find
Maybe.
out. You know, but she's just an annoying girlfriend.
Well,
Cheers to Ryan.
cheers.
Cheers to
Cheers to Joe.
Cheers
Joe.
to water. Okay.
There's whiskey in here.
Okay, yeah, I wish I had some whiskey. Anyway, so yeah, Ryan, that was the sweetest, nicest bartender ever. To just
Yeah.
be
Sweet.
like, you've had a really rough day. Let me give you these.
I know. That was
really
pretty
nice.
sweet.
But all right, let's wrap it up with Theo and his sister. So we didn't get too much of them, thank goodness.
Yeah.
We just had to have that little
Yeah.
thing of her opening the prison doors. We get to learn that's his sister Penny. They're back at his apartment. That was obviously Miss Penny who like took off before. She is she's got to be a killer too. She knows
absolutely.
Strauss. She was trained with Strauss as well.
Probably.
So I wonder
guessing, yeah.
I wonder what kind of role she's going to
She
play.
didn't say that, but I'm figuring they probably both got trained by Strauss.
And they finally decoded the thing that he's been tying up that poor guy for, the encryptic specialist. And
Yeah. They looked up a book that
Yeah.
was in Joe's library, but not
well as-
both. I think he looked up things that they had in common, but then he didn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna look up one that's not in
okay.
the other's library."
yeah, and then
he
the
found
first line that he types in, of
He's like,
course,
"Wait,
works.
Lovecraft. Da-da-da."
It's working.
I know. It's like, it's working.
What did you say when you saw the numbers on the screen?
He's like, it's not a person, it's...
It's numbers. That's what I thought he was gonna say. I'm sorry.
And me, I'm like, "Oh, it's GPS coordinates."
Yeah, and I was
I
like,
said
immediately.
it's longitude and latitude.
I'm like, oh, it's numbers. Maybe it's a math equation. I don't know. Well, apparently.
Yeah. So
That's why I'm
anyway,
not Theo.
That?
we talked a lot about. We're running out of time right now, and I
Yeah.
wish we could break down this episode more.
This was a
but
good one.
It was a really good episode. I'm amazed at the way Joe Carroll went out, and I still feel like there's a possibility of him living. But let's go ahead and move into our news and gossip.
Oh, yeah.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So we had some. I didn't do any news and gossip because I wanted to keep my head out of the Twitter sphere and all that social media stuff. But I did do comments from our fans. We had Slade the Deathstroke.
Hey, good name.
Yeah, Slade the Deathstroke said, the first season, Ryan and Joe reminded me of Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham. Through this season, it's more like Batman and the Joker.
My man. Good job,
And-
My
Slade.
man.
And that's so
Good
funny
job.
because I felt like I talked about that in the beginning of the season, right? But I was more on the train of like Mark or Mook being Two-Face
Yeah.
and the Joker's locked away, right, in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. But to jump on what he said, that's something that if you read a lot of comics or watch any of the animated movies or whatever, you'll see that that's something that Joker and Batman go through a lot. They have that same dynamic and that whole like, you need me, I complete you, you complete me. They really do have that.
As much as Batman hates it,
Yeah.
it's the same kind of thing. It's the same relationship. Ryan hates to admit it, but they are each other.
Joe Carroll's very Jokerish. It's the same argument. The same argument it is.
We had Bouquet S say, last season was meh, but this Theo, aka the Chameleon, is, pardon the pun, totally killing it. No, I'm not going to pardon the pun because that was a really good pun.
Was.
I enjoyed it.
Good job.
Have any of you thought he and Gwen are somehow related?
No.
No, we haven't. You know what? I kind of, when I read that, I was like, they do kind of look like a little bit alike. Maybe a little bit. No, but we did get to meet his sister. Maybe he has another sister.
Maybe.
Maybe she's
don't know.
working for him undercover to get at Brian
It's
Hardy.
like we can't accept that Gwen is just a regular girlfriend.
Yeah, 'cause
like she's
nobody
got to be
likes her.
something.
Yeah.
She's got to be something. She's
gotta be-
Strauss's old assistant. She's something.
Gosh, this name is tripping me up. Da Popolo in Paradise. Theo is a great addition. Do you think he'll replace Joe? Also, I've been calling Luke/Mark Lark.
Wow.
That's
Like
not
it.
bad.
Yeah,
Mook and Lark.
that's a good one. So no, nobody's going to replace Joe ever, and that's why the season has to be the end of the following. Now, no, not now, but we got to catch Theo, and
I don't think Theo makes it.
With
I
him.
don't think Theo makes it past the season.
Well, I think that about does it for our news and gossip. Let's go ahead
Yeah.
and move into our predictions.
I got one.
Predictions.
You got one?
We don't have much time, so I'm going to make it
Your
quick.
AfterBuzz
So
TV
I'm gonna stretch.
predictions.
Should I start?
Yeah, how about you start, Pegah?
Ryan Hardy is going to lose his marbles.
Okay.
Like big time. And I think if you guys haven't seen the previews for next week, tune out now, as Nando would say. But yeah, he loses it. He is going to be aggressive and just back on the drinking again.
Good job.
Gwen will find out. She'll probably tell him that she's preggers. I don't know if he's going to really react to that very well. Maybe.
no.
He really loves her. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm gonna keep it simple. I think Penny is going to be the one that kills Theo.
Whoa!
What?
No,
I think she's
there's
gonna
no
put
way.
her brother out of his misery
There's no
to save
way.
them both.
That's insane.
And I think she's going to do that the same way he killed his wife. Because I love you so much, I'm gonna put you out of your misery.
There's no way there could be no Theo. We just lost Joe.
Well,
What
there's
other
like 4 more episodes in the
nemesis would
season.
we have?
So you think later down the line, not
Yeah.
necessarily next episode.
Next episode, he's just he'll drink some more.
Okay. I think Ryan's going to fall into his addiction once again, and he's going to be drinking himself into a stupor next episode. He's probably going to go to FBI headquarters and going to be like, Ryan, you're drunk. Get out of here. Nick Fury doesn't want you around here.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know me. No one knows
My
me.
best friend is dead. My brother. No, but I feel like he's gonna lose it. Yeah, he's gonna be drunk as a skunk next episode.
Drunk as a skunk. Do skunks get drunk?
It's a rhyme.
Well, I don't know. I don't think skunks get drunk. All right.
Well, anyway, let's go
Alright.
ahead. Let's wrap up our show. We wanted to thank you guys for joining us on our awesome AfterBuzz TV after show for the following, and it was such a great episode this evening. It was a saddened. Oh, by the way, Joe had a tear drop down from his eye. Did you guys notice
I
that?
didn't notice that.
He had a tear drop down
Oh my
on
gosh.
from his left eye. It was heartbreaking. But you guys, you fans, thank you so much for your comments and following us every week. And be sure to check us out on all of our platforms. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, and AfterBuzzTV.com. Keep those comments coming so we can talk about your comments next week. And until then, you can follow me on social media at Sean Austin O on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope at Pegah Rad.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Micheal_Drew, Michael EAL.
And thanks to our producer, Jonathan, is that in the booth? Thank you so much for helping us out with all of our awesome show.
Good job, Johnny.
And
Good
we
job.
and we miss at Nando Vel.
We do.
We wish you were here tonight to share in our awesome episode. Until
That's the
then,
wrong one, bud.
yeah. Until then, guys, we'll buzz with you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.